We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Massive show in store for you tonight. So listen, if you're not on Twitter, I'm sorry that you're not, because we got to settle something. We have to settle something. The guy, Matt from over at Ragin Review, joins us here tonight. Has had a lot of words to say about LSU and a lot of things to their fans. Well, I don't know how I want to say this, but I invited them on this platform here tonight. One of them has accepted. Nick, I believe his name is, did not accept the request. I don't believe he will be joining us, but nevertheless, we got some things we need to settle. In reference to things like LSU buying a national championship, congratulations to Florida. So many things that they said, even though LSU just broke a record with the most draft picks in 1 year by one team at 13. The previous record was number 10. Just a news flash. Only two of those guys were technically transfers. Brain Joe Bear came from JUCO. I guess you could technically call that a third. But LSU's core nucleus was guys that they recruited. That Nolan Cain, who, congratulations to Nolan Cain, who is now the associate head coach at Texas A&M. Congrats to our guy Nolan. Core nucleus was dudes that have been here. But LSU did see a lot of their guys drafted today. The Dodgers and a buddy of mine who is a very good friend of the show, sure, he had some things to do with it. Can't confirm or deny. But Jordan Thompson, Javen Coleman, both going to the Dodgers. Braden Joubert going to St. Louis. Cam Johnson, the electric left-handed pitcher who's throwing up to 100 miles an hour, got drafted in the 20th round, but the Cardinals do not believe that he will sign. So that looks good. That looks very good. The one thing you have to worry about is, does he go JUCO? We'll have to wait and see on that. But we'll talk about all that here tonight. Also, where is it? Shoot. My stupid notes. There it is. But nevertheless, left-handed hitter, left-handed pitcher Jake Brown was also drafted today. All intents and purposes, it would appear that he is also going to be coming to LSU. Koki Riley from the Advertiser broke that news earlier today. Jake did confirm to many, though, and we have this from him, like actually physically from him, that he will make a decision. I trust in Koki Riley's reporting, and it would seem and appear that Brown is going to be a Tiger. So, yeah, looking good. So we'll do a draft recap, going on Ruffino's rants. I do want to talk one thing about the SEC, though, in that rant, but needless to say, if you didn't see this too, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution received a formal letter from the Georgia Bulldogs today in reference to false reporting, and they want a retraction. That will also be in the Ruffino's rants, but a lot about Jay Johnson. Also, a massive area that LSU defensively wants to improve in. I think it's been a very big focus for LSU over this past offseason, quote-unquote offseason, or non-playing portion of the season, as we like to talk about, or like to call it, I should say. But one thing that they focused in on a lot, we'll talk about that as well. Alvin Kamara case comes to a close. The civil and criminal lawsuit. Listen, I got a lot of pushback on this, but if it's the first time that you've watched the show, welcome. But we talk about a lot of legalities on the show with the history that I have. Not going to go into great detail on that, but there is a massive difference in pleading no contest and pleading guilty. Alvin Kamara pleaded no contest. He is not admitting guilt. So we need to understand the differences between Alvin Kamara getting community service, paying a $100,000 fine, and him pleading guilty to a case. And the district attorney's office and the judge accepting that. Does not go down as a guilty verdict. It goes down as a no contest. So does Alvin Kamara still receive penalty from the NFL with them? You never know. I hope he does not. I hope he does not. At the end of the show, we'll go around your SEC, and as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake. So you have questions, thoughts, concerns. Get them inside the Rooted Crew chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. Hal Jubin says to Penn Jones, schooling ULL fans can be a lot of fun. True. You know what USL stands for? LSU backwards. We'll talk about it. Brandon says, Blake, did you see DJU got drafted by the Dodgers? I did. He ain't going. It's just to draft him. Penn Jones says, take him to school, Blake. We're going to try. We are going to try. But as we've done a lot of these. I'm not going to sit here and yell and scream at him. We've had Glenn Guilbeau on. We've had people that we disagree with a lot on this show. I'm going to try to be cordial, but at the same time, there's some answers that have to be the questions that have to be answered here. Okay? Like, not going to stand for fans. Like, if you have a platform and you constantly are attacking fans and you want to call yourself a media, we're going to call you out for it. It's the reason why Guilbeau was on here, and he knows that. Curtis says, Joe Bear's from Slidell, so is that really a transfer? He was at Nichols, then went to JUCO, and then came from JUCO, from Delgado, came to LSU. By the way, Brain Joe Bear is my spirit animal. I will just say that right now. But nevertheless, that JUCO guys aren't your traditional transfers. Everybody takes JUCO dudes. Robert Law says, hashtag Ask Blake, have you got that at Flick NIL deal for Ackenhausen and Cooper set up yet? No, Riley Cooper is going. And he has made it pretty well known. I mean, guys, he's been here a long time, meaning in college baseball. He got drafted today by the Baltimore Orioles, so he's going to be going. Good on Riley Cooper, man. Good on Riley Cooper. Robert Law says, Blake, do you think Dugas will come back? Dugas cannot come back. He is a fifth-year senior, and even if he could come back, he would not come back. Deion Black says, what about Beloso? Beloso was supposed to join us here tonight, but we got dates mixed up. He's doing hitting courses or whatever tonight. He was supposed to come on the show with us, but he also cannot come back. We'll see what he does in a free agent deal. We'll see. Riley Cooper will sign with the Orioles. Blake says, Chris H., that is correct. Good for him, man. Good for him. You got to love it. Paul Sub Martin says, this show has BGB potential at 7:30. It's going off the rails. Yeah, we did have Big Game Boomer on the show. For a guy that talked a lot of shizite about LSU, hadn't done it a lot lately. LSU's in his top 5 of everything. So you got to love it. JTN says, as a lifelong LSU fan from Thibodaux and an educator at ULL, I have not and will not ever understand the ULL-LSU rivalry. It is apples to oranges. I 1,000% agree with JTN. 1,000% agree. I think that the biggest rivalry between the two schools at this juncture would be Why do they dust their crawfish? Got to admit, it's pretty disgusting. The seasoning melts into the shell. No, it doesn't. Like, if you've ever been in a chemistry class at college, that's not how chemistry and chemicals work. It's not how it works. You soak that meat. You soak that meat. It's not a rivalry. But as the great lyricist once said, if you want to talk stuff, if you want to run your mouth, if you want some couillons outside your house, we will set this thing off. Just letting it be known, man. Just letting it be known. Dennis says, does Coleman? No. And Edwards come back? No. Both of them will not come back. Some of the later round guys like Jordan Thompson to the Dodgers, Jordan's going to get what he wants. Okay. The goal, this is confirmed, the goal would be probably to let him see what he can do at short and see what he could potentially do on the mound. But that is Jay's dude, man. And look, you got Braswell right here to take over the reins at shortstop. Let's see how good he can do. But what you do add at short is look, I don't mean this in a wrong way, but a better defender and a guy that hit around the same as Jordan Thompson. Now, the pop was not there from Braswell, but the speed is something different. So we'll see. We will see. Rick says, what's crazy is you think Lafayette people would know better. Crazy and unthinkable. They do not. And I love people from Lafayette. A lot of people in this show that watch this show are from Lafayette. I love the 337. Food is great. People are great. But if you're going to have a platform, you're going to talk that stuff. Yes. Oh, England, Danny England with a good question. He says, what poor guys we after now that the draft is over? Okay, now we'll talk about it. So today, in case you missed it, this is something that we will talk about off the top. A potential number 1 overall pick, Braden Montgomery from Madison, Mississippi, has entered the transfer portal. So let me just, for people who don't know or don't watch a lot of college baseball, Braden Montgomery will play right field and be the closer for you, hypothetically, if you came here. And will potentially be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 class. I will mention more about that right after the commercial break because it's something we need to touch on. Like this is Paul Skeens. This is Tommy Tanks. This is the guy that everybody's somewhat really kind of been waiting for to enter the portal. He is there now. He's got 1 year. Let's see what LSU can do. All right, a couple more before we get rolling. Edo says, bro, 90% of Cajun fans also pull for LSU. Don't let a few bad apples make you think otherwise. I agree with that. I don't disagree. There's a lot of LSU fans in the 337, but I kind of want to squash this whatever rivalry we think that they have, winning a midweek game. And I think the biggest thing, okay, is ULL fans believe that they are remotely on some kind of same level as LSU. Buddy, it's like Coca-Cola and Great Value Walmart brand. It is like creme de la creme Dookie water on bourbon. Okay, maybe they're not that bad. You have a couple good years in football, man, with Billy Napier, who can't even beat Brian Kelly. He's got a top 4 pick at quarterback, and he's getting his teeth kicked in. I mean, Vanderbilt is clapping the Gator cheeks. He might have been the best coach for you. He's not the best coach that's been at LSU. I digress. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. Couple more, then we'll get rolling. Last one, actually. Rick says, hashtag Ask Blake, do you think Tommy Tanks can pull some of his buddies in Cannon Peoples? Peoples, if I'm not mistaken, is going to Tennessee. Green, I do not know, infielder for the Tigers. I thought Peoples was going to Tennessee. If I'm not mistaken, Peoples has already announced that he's going to Tennessee. I lied. Last one. Yeah, we'll talk about Holman, Holden. We'll talk about Holman. If you're not on the message board, you need to be. Guys, all of your questions are literally on the AYS message board. AYSSnetwork.com/forum. You can do the 1 month trial, every month. You can do annual. You get like 4 months free if you do the annual package. All the questions are in there, but I will answer the Holman one. All right, let's get rolling. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of draft news we got to talk about too. So about our good friends, though, over at betonline.ag. Use your mobile devices today to sign up. Use that promo code BELIEVE at checkout, and our good friends over at GM. Don't go anywhere. Rafino's rants, LSU continues to show and get the accolades of what a best team of all time looks like. We talk about it next. Jay Johnson, is he the next Nick Saban, or is he the Nick Saban? College baseball. We talk about that next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. I forgot to mention, by the way, Texas, you're not back. Neither is the ULL Ragin Cajuns. I forgot to mention, everybody do us a favor, though, by hitting the like and share to all those social media groups. If you're on Facebook, you guys that are on Facebook are killing it for us. If you're on YouTube, so many of you are watching our shows. You're not subscribing. Do us a favor by hitting that like button and subscribe as well. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. And all of those who are watching us on Fubo TV, welcome. My name is Blake Ruffino. All right. So listen, the draft is over. And what's crazy about the Major League Baseball draft, at least in my opinion, is you really never know what's going to happen. Teams can slot guys. They can bring money for this guy and take this from this guy. So many crazy things can happen. Guys that you maybe didn't think would go as high as they did. Gavin Dugas going in the 6th round. Some people did not think that he was going to go that high. He did. But here's a guy that hit back-to-back seasons that he really played extended periods of time. Over 15 home runs. 1 year, he's the RBI leader in the SEC. Defensively, if he gets a little bit better, Gavin Dugas is going to be really, really good. Maybe he can be an Aaron Hill type of dude. Maybe. Hopefully he stays healthy. But the one thing that is for sure, look at the guys that you had drafted. Now, I don't know if Christian Little will return. Also a guy that got drafted. I feel like Blake Money is going to go. Riley Cooper has announced that he is going to be taking his talents to minor league baseball. Guys like Gavin Dugas and Braden Jobert. One of them's a senior. You know he's gone. And Braden Jobert getting drafted by the Cardinals. good luck to the legendary North Shore man out of Slidell, Braden Jobert. But one thing you cannot deny is that LSU continues to break records. They were the number one team coming into the year. They ended as the number one team in the country. They had a generational dude in Paul Skeens, who a year ago was flying jet planes. We have pictures and video of him training, flying in jet planes, and another generational dude in Dylan Cruz. They headlined, and for the first time ever in Major League Baseball's draft, you had two players from the same school go 1 and 2. Another thing that you had was the most draft picks by any team ever in 1 year at 13. Oh, and by the way, LSU still had some of their freshman commits that also got picked. Blake Mitchell went in the top 10. He ain't coming. He gone, y'all. He's on the he gone gateway. Cam Johnson, he also got drafted in the 20th round. Guys like Jake Brown, others. But I think some of those guys might show up. Like, I really do feel that Cam Johnson, and the only thing you kind of really worry about now is if he goes to JUCO. I think you may be okay there. But you get the best player in Louisiana on board and will be on your campus more than likely. Doesn't look like he's going to the Rangers where he was drafted. You're completely replenishing. You know, about a year ago, and it was not a great take. People did not like this. I'm going to stand by my guns. A year ago yesterday, we had a face-to-face conversation with Jay Johnson. And I've told you this. I walked out of that feeling like I just had an hour-long conversation with Nick Saban. Maybe, and Jay knows I love him to death. Maybe it's a little bit of the height. Maybe it's a little bit of the persona. But Jay Johnson gives you those type of vibes. Now you have a young man and Luke Hallman, who was Alabama's ace, which, by the way, very quick side note. Have y'all seen this thing with Alabama? Have y'all seen this thing with their head coach and Bobo Hannon? We'll get to that maybe a little bit later. But you have guys in the portal like Luke Hallman. Where does Chase Shores ultimately end up? I do not know. And the potential number one overall pick in the country, Braden Montgomery, who's now in the portal. I feel confident that Jay knows what he's doing and that he can get, at least at minimum, he's in the top 2, top 3 for all 3 of them. Now, Luke Hallman is a guy that we talked about last week that after USA Baseball, like literally last Wednesday, we came on here and talked about Luke Hallman being here after the USA Baseball stuff was over with. He's going to be here next week. Feel pretty good about him. Could be a guy that's an ace for your club, Friday night guy next year if you don't get a guy who's also in the portal like Chase Burns. You have a potential number 1 overall pick, a guy that absolutely just rakes, a guy that's going to throw 98, 99, 100 off the mound. He's going to close games for you. Braden Montgomery, can LSU reel him in? But I do think it's interesting. If you don't know this, Braden Montgomery from Stanford put a do not contact on his transfer portal name, which, what does that mean? You know, I had so many people asking, like, what does it mean that Braden Montgomery put that on there? 9 times out of 10, that means he has his top destination, if not top 2. You know who else we saw do that in the recent past? This guy that went to Alabama and Tyler Buckner. So when we see guys do things like that, we know one thing's for certain. They have a pretty good idea of where they're going. Now, if it was as simple as, yeah, Stanford might be an option to return, well, then why did you get in the portal in the first place? Well, more than likely, it comes down to can you hit the portal and make a lot of money in NIL. You lead the charge when it comes to things like that. Can you close? That will be the question. But one thing is for certain. You just won a national championship, and it's very hard to win back-to-back championships in anything. Probably more difficult to win back-to-back championships in baseball than any of the big three, in my personal opinion. But I do think that Jay can do it. Jay is the kind of guy that, one, he's not going to be settled with. One, he won't be settled with the idea of just winning one national championship. He's talked about multiple times, we're just getting started. I feel so good where you're at. Now, that might be my Rufino's rants about this. But, one thing also is true is now in the last 4 months, you have won back-to-back national titles, right? Women's basketball, the first basketball national championship that you have in men's or women's sports. Just a month ago, less than a month ago, you won a national title in baseball. Feels like the tides are turning around LSU athletics as a whole. You got to a national championship run or had a national championship run in gymnastics. You won the SEC West with Brian Kelly in year one. Feels like the times at LSU have never been brighter. But don't forget just a couple years ago where you were at. It was a very big dark cloud around Baton Rouge and LSU. Your AD lifted you out of it. I sympathize with people in the media and fan bases when you see things going on like what's going on at Georgia right now. They're demanding that the AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, retract some of their statements saying that they pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing, allow very heinous sexual activities. And the University of Georgia is going out to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution saying, take that down. That is BS. And I will say, I do think that that's BS. I do think that that's BS. You've come such a long way in such a short time. You're going to continue to be on the top of the mountain. You get fired up for football season because you're going to be good. You guys, a month from today, we're going to be on this platform talking about what LSU is doing at practice. Going into the fall season for football. Coming off 2 national title runs and coaches in their second year. Your football coach is in year 2 as well. Do not allow the previous negativity to affect where you're going currently. That's where we're at. All right, couple of questions. We got Josh from the Ragin Review going to be joining us here in just a second. I know, I see in the comments, you guys are ready. I wonder if Josh has his national championship shirt on. The one about the midweek game? Just a joke. Can you calm down? All right. Couple of these. Thad says 23 years since they got to a College World Series. See, y'all already starting. I know how this is going to go. I might not have to be able to read comments, man. This is going to be, y'all going to have to just be cool, man. As what's your boy, Stephen A. Smith? Stay off the weed. Unless it's our good friends over at gramco.com, gramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25 at checkout. Rick says, Blake, is your mic cutting out? I don't know. Guys, y'all tell me. Is my mic cutting out? I don't think that it is. But I can't listen to myself. Noah says, what's that Raging Cajun dude coming on? When? Right now. Saints, Anthony B. Saints says, hashtag ask Blake, what draft picks do you think may return, if any, Do you think George, JJ, Braden, or Riley? I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them. I really don't. I really don't. All right, last one, then we'll get rolling. Brandon Reese says the fact that Wake Forest and Florida had a combined 15 baseball players drafted makes the LSU National Championship that much more impressive looking back on it. Yeah, and they had 13. They had 13. All right. Let's do this thing. Do you dust your crawfish? Put it inside the chat. Do you dust your crawfish? Yes or no? Y for yes, N for no. Put it inside the chat. Talk about our good friend Tyler Alexander over at eXp Realty. Good for Carol Falls over at State Farm. Don't go anywhere. Ragin Review. Next.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man. He's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler. He'll shoot you straight.
Tyler, guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. We are joined here by Josh from over there at Ragin Review. Good evening, sir. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. How are we doing tonight?
Well, Blake, I got to say, man, you got a nice setup. I'm impressed by the dig. So
thank you.
First and foremost, yeah, job well done. Listen, it's a thrill. Been waiting for it. I know we would have liked to do it a little bit earlier, but, you know, obviously you got plans and whatnot. So I'm glad we were able to get together.
Yeah, we try to, and look, I mean, maybe we could have squeezed it in, but I wanted some time for us to talk. I didn't want to have to get to other guests, but thank you for joining us. I think this is how I intend this to go. Okay. I don't mean any ill will to you as a man, but I'm Italian. I'm loud. I'm Cajun. I'm loud. Okay. I don't take it to offense. Okay. That's rule number one. We cool with that?
Thick skin over here, but I didn't get in this position by getting my feelings hurt too easily.
Okay, well, let me start off with the first question. Do you have thick skin because ULL dusts their crawfish?
So we're going to go the ULL route. I guess it is your show. I'll let it slide.
Okay. I'm not calling you Louisiana.
Well, let's find a compromise.
ULL. You are Louisiana at Lafayette, right? University of Louisiana Lafayette.
The name of the university is Louisiana at Lafayette. That is correct. That's what the degree says, so I can't argue with that. However,
okay,
the school in Baton Rouge is called Louisiana State University and
LSU.
Agricultural and Mechanical College. So if we want to get specific and technical, I mean, that's the fact. LSU is a branding. It's a brand. That's what.
Yeah, but the three first things at LSU is LSU. The first three major things for ULL would be ULL, correct?
No, actually, ULL has never been.
It's never been the University of Louisiana Lafayette.
No. The branding. We're talking about branding now. The branding has never been ULL. It's never been okay. It's never been sanctioned by the university or the athletic department. So no, technically that's incorrect.
So if I pulled up their website right now, the first three letters, not consonants or vowels, but if it would not say the University of Louisiana Lafayette?
Our website is louisiana.edu. So I don't know what you mean.
Okay. Well, first off, how does the Ragin' Cajuns get to claim the word and name and state of Louisiana.
Well, the school in Baton Rouge does it all the time.
Louisiana State.
Correct. It happens all the
They're
time.
the premier school in the state.
Well, you're the premier school in the state for lots of reasons. We're going to get off the rails here, but there are 4, or at least 4, pretty major universities that also are represented in the state. Baton Rouge doesn't represent all of us. So it's still branding.
And ULL does?
Well, I mean, you could have branded yourself anything. You went with Louisiana State University, LSU.
I didn't brand anything.
Well, no, you're right. The school did. Excuse me.
Right. Okay. Well, if you don't mind that I say ULL, you can say Louisiana. Fair?
Okay.
All right. I do got to ask you a question, though.
Sure.
LSU won a national title, and y'all had a tweet go viral.
Yeah.
About 500, 600,000 people. Okay. It reached. You congratulated Florida. What's up with that?
Well, we don't have now, obviously I might have a little fun with that. Okay. But, we don't have a dog in the hunt, and there are 2 teams playing. It's a national championship game. It's a nationally televised game. There are 2 teams that played. You congratulated one of them. Well, I don't really see the big deal.
You don't see the big deal of trolling.
Well, it's not a troll. I mean, I didn't say anything.
You just said I'm going to go out there and do it to have fun, correct?
Well, sure, it's fun, but
that would be trolling, right?
I also tweet about United States men's soccer when they play. I tweet about NFL, NBA, anything that's relevant. I'm tweeting about it. So, if anything, the Tiger fans should have been excited that we were even watching their game, and which was one of the points that I made. Obviously they didn't like that, but.
Interesting. You said LSU bought a national title. Do you know how many transfers the University of Florida had?
Several, sure.
Yeah. Did you know it was more than LSU?
Well, I didn't say that LSU bought a national title and Florida didn't have any NIL deals.
Are you sure you all didn't say that?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay. So if I pulled up a tweet right now that said LSU did not buy a national title, that would not be correct.
No, Blake, listen, what I'm saying is that, yes, I totally said that. What I'm saying is that I never said anything saying that Florida did or didn't buy players.
Well, because here's the tweet. Congratulations on a fantastic season to the Florida Gators. Unfortunately, amateurism is dead, and you have to buy or indeed
you can't indeed buy
yourself
right.
a national title. So you're insinuating that LSU bought a national title, correct?
Well, no, I'm not insinuating. I'm saying it.
Okay. So then how are you going to congratulate Florida, by the way, that does not like you, who stole your head coach, bought you out?
Well, that's a little bit more context to the tweet, which people in Baton Rouge probably don't know. So Ragin Review broke the news that Billy Napier was going to go to Florida. And for I don't know, maybe 2 months, everybody in Baton Rouge told us how stupid we were that he was coming to Baton Rouge and going to LSU.
Did?
Oh, man. The Twitterverse and the Twitter.
So other trolls.
Oh, who knows? There's so many of them out there. But again, it's Twitter. So anyway, and I said it repeatedly, and if you want to do some investigation on the account, you can do that. I said repeatedly that Sexton, Billy's agent, was using Baton Rouge as leverage to tell Strickland, look, it's not a done deal. We want more control in Gainesville. We want more money in Gainesville. I want to pick my own staff. I said that over and over, and we got hate for it over and over and over. And you know what happened? It's exactly what happened. So that was.
What does that have anything to do with LSU winning a natty?
Well, because a lot of their fans followed the podcast. When we found out that Billy was poaching players, we started, kind of going after him and his staff, Jabbar Jalouk and a lot of those guys. It was dirty. It got dirty for a while, and then their fans turned on us. So it wasn't just
poaching players if he recruited them to go there?
You can't poach a player that's on a roster. That's still against NCAA. You can't do that.
The NCAA can say whatever they want, but I think here's the difference from a school that's in a G5 to the FCS level. The NCAA does not rule that.
Are you telling me it's not against the rules?
Hold on 1 second. I'll let you. Is it? Because federal guidelines, the U.S. Congress got involved. Did they not when it came to NIL and the transfer portal?
Well, after the fact,
Hold
yes.
on. I'll let you speak. Okay?
Well,
they did. You know what's in that bylaw. that they cannot constitute, that the NCAA cannot constitute if a player wants to leave and go elsewhere. You do know in Article 72, they can't do anything with it right now. Name a team that's gotten popped for poaching players in the transfer portal, because I'll wait.
Oh, man, there's been many allegations. I don't know who's been popped.
I didn't say allegations. Who has been convicted? Do you want to know why they haven't gotten popped? Because it is against federal regulation.
All right.
If Osiris Torrance from St. Helena Parish went to ULL and then went to Florida and followed Billy, that's not poaching.
It's not just Osiris Torrance. That's not who I was talking about.
Well, what about Kyron Lacey? How did that turn out?
Well, Kyron Lacey was, I don't know how you do your show. I don't know how much you want to tell the truth, but Lacey was not a good teammate. We'll put it that way. And he was looking to get out when he got here.
He became a really good teammate at LSU.
Is he?
He's a starter. He's a captain.
Oh, that doesn't mean anything. That's not what I'm talking about.
So Brian Kelly, who's got more wins in college football than Nick Saban on paper, you're going to tell me that he doesn't know and think that Kyron Lacey is a good leader?
I have no idea how he's worked out in Baton Rouge. The reason why I made the point is because as soon as he got here, he had the reputation of not being a good worker, not being a good leader, and he was looking to get out immediately. That's just the truth.
Interesting. Hey, did you say anything about Alabama from poaching your players?
Maybe. Who knows?
No, you didn't, because I did do my investigation. I went down it. You had a DB that just transferred to Alabama, did you not?
Yes.
You know that you gave it an okay?
Well, I know Trey personally. And
okay.
Number two, I can tell you this right now.
Do you cover the school or no?
Do I cover him? Not officially, but yeah, we follow the team. Yes.
Okay. So then you should be able to talk about them poaching a player. But when it's LSU, to get back to the massive topic here,
right.
When it's about LSU, you guys want to go out there and troll, because here's the truth. I don't see ULL as a rivalry. I don't know why TSAB, whatever in the hell that stands for.
It stands for that school across the basin. I don't see why you guys hate that so much.
Because you get mad about us calling you ULL, but then turn around and call LSU TSAB.
You guys have been, anytime we try to do anything with the name, we get trashed and made fun of.
Y'all have made
we come up with one
changes.
We come up with one acronym that really is, it's pretty docile. It's not really that big of a deal.
And ULL
and
is?
You guys lose your freaking minds over it. It's hilarious.
ULL is.
You know why you guys do that? Because you hate Louisiana. You hate the fact, not you personally.
No, I don't.
Your fan base in particular, there's a segment of them, and I know why. I don't want to continue to go down that road, but there's a segment of the fan base that hate the fact that anybody else in this state would make any amount of improvement upon what they already have. All of the attention has to be in Baton Rouge. All of the success, all of the wins, all of the clouts got to reside in Baton Rouge. The reason why they hate that we have Louisiana on our chest is because we're the only fan base in this state that have ever stood up to those people.
Stood up to who?
Well, first of all, the legislatures, and that's a whole other conversation.
First off, buddy, I'm just going to tell you something.
All right.
That's horseshit, and you know that.
Oh, come on. I can prove it.
Do you know? Okay. First
off,
I
didn't know whether I didn't know how much research you were going to do. I didn't know where we were going. I've been sitting on the beach for a week and a half. I didn't realize that. However, I'm willing to do a follow-up when we don't have any content over the off season if you want to do that. But I can show you 8 to 10 articles right now of the legislature in Baton Rouge holding down Lafayette, the university here, and the athletics department.
Do you know, just so you know, as someone who worked for the government at the time,
all right,
did 15 years in it,
all right,
did you know that LSU was the one that led the charge in not paying Bobby Jindal?
No.
They were.
Well, Bobby Jindal was a disgrace to the state.
In law who worked it, they did. And you know what they did? They called 1-800-SAVE-A-HO to ULL and said, follow us.
Right.
Saving the charge for what?
But that doesn't have anything to do with upward mobility of the university in this state. In this city.
It sounds as if, let me tell you what I feel like you sound like, okay? Or from the Ragin Cajun page or fan base. Oh, well, what about us? What about us? That's how I feel that, like, when you were saying that, what about us? the life in reality is not equal. LSU and ULL will never be equals, ever. You came out and said that our football teams are somewhat similar over the last 5 years. Says who?
I never said that.
You tweeted it.
Look, dude, I'm gonna just tell you, the account is run by 3 different people.
Well,
if we said that,
well, then hold on one second. If the podcast tweets it, it is a representation of you 3.
Okay, no, that's fine. What I was going to say is you're going to have to provide a little bit more context, because if I didn't say it, doesn't necessarily believe
like I did with this context, like I did with the last tweet.
With the last tweet, I said what I said. I have no problem saying it again.
I mean, you literally said that you did not say this, and we proved that you did say it.
I did not say I didn't say it. What are you talking about, man? I literally repeated the tweet and said I would say it again.
Okay. We're not equals. Like ULL and LSU are not equals. Going on and then blocking fans because they disagree with you is a little childish.
Well, we don't block fans that don't disagree. We block fans that attack our wives. We block fans that send the addresses and say pull up and call us names that, I mean, frankly.
Send me all those
let me tell you one thing. We do poke fun and we do have a good time and we do say things that are meant to have some fun, okay? But we don't get personal with people. We don't show our ass on the podcast, and we certainly don't do it on Twitter. We try to make it fun.
You do show your ass on Twitter. Come on.
If you can give me an example of somebody going after a person, please do, because we make it a point not to.
Going after somebody is not showing your ass.
Well, that's what I call it. Showing your ass is, you know, I'm a 45-year-old grown-ass man with a family, but I'm gonna send an address for you to come and fight me because you made a tweet. That's showing your damn ass.
I do agree with you on that part. But I will say this, as a mutual agreement, if someone attacks your family, send it to us. We'll attack them with you.
Well, we don't want to get into all that. And by the way, it's not all the time. It happens every now and then. I'm not going to be a baby about it. You know, I'm not from the generation of I got to report tweets because they hurt my feelings. I don't care about that. The point is,
everybody.
The point
not
is,
everybody's talking about your wife. Not everybody's talking about your kids. Not everybody's. You know that.
Of course not. And I don't. First of all, I make it a point not to block people. If people get blocked, it's usually one of the other. This is the truth.
Is it Nick?
Well, everybody loves Nick. Apparently, I don't know what's the fascination with Nick. Nick's the nicest one out of all 3 of us.
That might be the biggest lie that you told.
Oh, come on, man. He's a good dude. He likes to mess with people, but he does.
Would you admit that LSU and ULL are not, or Louisiana are not equal?
Well, it depends on what you're saying. I mean, Diamond Sports.
From an athletic standpoint, are we equal?
Athletically, no, because you get $65 million just from TV. Of course, we're not equal.
They've never made $65 million.
Pull up what you made in 2022.
We made $53.7 million.
Okay, 53.7. Sorry, 53.7 million plus. What's your student fee?
Don't know, but does it matter?
It's millions. It does, because we cannot be equal. Of course, we can't be equal.
And why do you act like we are making championship shirts for a midweek game?
You realize that was a joke, right?
It doesn't matter if it's
of course it matters. It's Twitter. We're content creators, dude.
Y'all got that excited because you beat LSU in a midweek game.
We did not get that excited. Our school put out a promotional video, and your dimwit-ass fans came into the mentions of the video, so we made a joke about it, and they thought it was real, which was even funnier than what they tried to do.
You're going to sit here and tell me as a ULL dude that you didn't get excited when LSU got beat by ULL in a midweek game. You're going to tell me that right now.
Every time we beat LSU, I feel good about it, of course.
Well, it's only been happened like 7 times.
We've beaten you 4 of the last 6.
In what?
In baseball.
How many natties do you have?
Who cares?
What do you mean?
Look, I am already fighting an uphill battle.
Hold on. What do you mean, who cares?
Well,
you clearly cared when you said congratulations to Florida.
I watch college baseball because I'm a college baseball fan.
Why aren't fans showing up to your games?
We sell out the Teague all the time.
You didn't, because remember when you attacked me and I said no one's at your conference games? Okay, and no one's at your conference championship game when you're beating the dog snot out of somebody. Your team didn't travel. Your fans didn't travel.
Are you talking about for baseball?
For baseball.
In Montgomery?
You didn't travel.
Well, let's see. Coastal Carolina hosted a regional.
Did you travel? Does it matter?
Nobody travels to Montgomery is the point I'm trying to make.
You know who does?
In Hoover for the SEC, a fan base or a conference that has a lot of fans. Yes, it's a good conference. You guys have great competition. It's not the same. Sun Belt is very top heavy. You know that.
The Fun Belt.
I don't call it that. I think that's dumb.
Why?
I just think it's hokey. It's cheesy.
Why is it cheesy?
I don't like it.
You know Billy Napier's named Sun Belt Billy.
I mean, okay. I think it just means more is dumb too. I mean, I think all those little catchphrases are stupid.
What's your blood pressure at right now?
Well, I usually drink on these things, and I'm usually driving the.
I don't care if you would have
boat.
gotten a drink; it wouldn't matter to me.
No, it's fine. No, dude, this is fun. I've been looking forward to it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's college sports. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. If you can't have fun with it, what are you really doing? This is why I don't get the whole "how many natties do you have?" Look, man, I had fun throughout the season. We played hard. We didn't have enough pitching to compete. Hang on, let me finish.
All right.
It's a miracle that we even made the postseason as an at-large. I was shocked. I didn't think that we were good enough to make the field. But we did.
The only reason that you didn't make the field was because of Louisiana ties. You know that.
We made the field because we beat several top 25 teams.
Because there's a dude that's on that board that's going to be the president. You were not good enough.
Either way, I don't want to get into that. We didn't have the pitching. I thought we overachieved. I was happy to get in. We played Texas great. They made 2 big plays that cost us the game. We played Miami great because we ran out of freaking pitching.
You know who beats Miami? Say their name.
I don't know who they lost to in the tournament.
LSU didn't lose to anybody.
I'm talking about Texas and Miami. I don't know who ended up beating them in the tournament.
Stanford.
Okay, so Stumford
and who beat Miami? It was it wasn't Oral Roberts. They were in
I don't think so.
Auburn. Guys, help us out in the chat. Who did Miami lose to? That's a good question, man. You know what's crazy is Miami has been hosted a regional last 2 years and gotten beat. Ole Miss, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Well, they didn't really look good in those 2 regionals. But they could hit this year.
It was Texas that beat them in that regional. So Texas beats Miami.
Yeah, and then Texas got out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have been a fan of the Saints, and I'm not talking about the Drew Brees, Sean Payton Saints. Of course, I was a fan of that. But I grew up with Billy Joe Hobart and Billy Joe Tolliver and Heath Schuler and all that crap. I know how to be a good fan.
Are you not a Jake Delhomme fan?
Oh, of course, Jake Delhomme's my guy. But the point I'm making is that those were some lean years. I know how to be a fan of a team that's not necessarily very good. I had WGN at my grandmother's house, so I watched the Cubs and the Padres. Those were my teams back then. I know how to sit through some shitty ball. And then of course the Cajuns. I went to Curly Hallman and Jerry DiNardo games, and I saw that stadium with 30,000 people in it. The LSU this is a new thing the last 25 years. This hasn't been going on for 100 years like everybody pretends.
So half your life.
Half my life. Yeah, well, yeah, about that. A little bit less than that.
More than half. No, more than half if you're 42.
I am not 42. I am 37.
Okay.
No, I was making an example of the jackasses on Twitter.
Yeah, well, more than that.
So anyway,
why
to say that?
Go ahead.
To say that LSU's been this big legacy program all this time, it hasn't. It's not true. LSU baseball has been more of a legacy program than freaking football program. So this whole idea that these football programs are these elite. You're elite the last 25 years.
Hold on. First off,
you're elite the last 25 years. That's absolutely correct. You're one of the big dogs the last 25 years. You can't argue with that.
You change the page and making somebody a blue blood.
Well, you're not a blue blood. You're not a blue blood yet.
So what constitutes a blue blood to you?
Well, first of all, I would say
because you just said you don't care what happened in all those other years, but now which means in Constitution, you want to get into the now. 25 years constitutes LSU as being one of the top, if not my child will call LSU a blue blood.
Maybe.
Not probably. Maybe. They're second behind Alabama in national title, not only appearances, but wins.
Well, the reason why I brought up Curly Hallman.
SEC in the most national championships since 2000.
Uh-huh.
They have been not only just a dominant team, the entire athletic administration has been dominant since 2000.
No question. Can't argue with that.
You cannot argue with that.
So the point I was going to make about DiNardo and all that, pre-Saban era, was that, being a supporter of a college, being a supporter of a place that educated you in any way, it takes on a different meaning when winning doesn't mean life or death. So I have grown up a UL fan, unfortunately a Cubs fan, and a Saints fan. Winning natties doesn't mean everything to me. When the Saints won the Super Bowl, it was one of the greatest days ever of my sporting life.
So it matters when a team that you like and support wins a championship,
nope,
but not when a fake rival to you wins one.
Well, it's not a fake rival. It is a rival to us, and we can go into that after that.
Rivals play every year.
Well, because you won't schedule us, and that's what I was getting at. You won't schedule us. And you can't say that. Have you been to the PMAC? We literally
just played you in baseball.
In baseball, but you didn't schedule the 3-game series.
Buddy, nobody plays G5 teams in football during the year.
Hold on a second. Let's work our way to that.
You're not big enough. You're not a big enough.
You played McNeese. Hold on. McNeese.
Okay. You're not a big enough program as a G5 to get that week 1 game. LSU goes out and plays the Florida States, in a couple of years, Clemson's. They go out and play UCLA. They'll play USC next year.
Okay.
They do the FCS because that's pretty much what they've always done.
Okay. But you've also hosted
Hold on.
Sorry.
Well, not recently. Not of recent.
No, that's true. But
okay.
Go ahead. Finish your point. I didn't want to cut you off.
The bottom line about the FCS is to give them money to help them out, which you do not need. You do not need money more than McNeese State does. Is that fair?
Not now. Good God. You don't
need more money than Southeastern. You don't need more money than Southern. You don't need more money than Grambling.
Yeah.
So LSU, not you, is taking care of the HBCUs and the FCS schools around the state more than you have, because you're not paying them $1.5 million to come and play with them week 2.
I don't know what we're paying them, but it's not over $1 million. No.
No, it's not remotely close. It's around $300,000.
No, I think it's $650 actually. The last time we played them. I'll get back to you on that, but I'm pretty sure it's over $500,000.
All right, I will stand corrected if I'm wrong on that one.
Okay. But your point is well taken.
I just think that at the end of all of this, whether it's you or the 2 other guys that are with you, saying some of the things that you have said in closing, like, come on, man.
What, are you kicking me off? It just got good.
I mean, we do have a radio and TV slot, so yeah.
Cool. Big time. Sorry, man.
I mean, that's what happens when you talk LSU.
That's probably true. It's probably why we get to have a little bit more fun. But it's
Do you secretly like LSU?
Sir?
You heard what I said.
I didn't hear what you said.
Do you secretly like LSU? Don't lie.
Look, man, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never been to an event. I just told you I've been to some of their games.
Do you secretly like LSU?
Of course not. You can't be.
You're so full of it.
I don't need to feel like there's a lot of people on this side of the basin where I live. They have to be LSU fans because it makes them feel like they're worth something. They got to attach themselves to a winner.
No,
yes, it is. Dude, I live here. I know what I'm talking about.
Just because speaking of Lip, never mind. I'm not going there. He's not here to defend himself.
Right. But if you're going to say Nick's lived here his whole life. He moved for work. He moved for work. The guy works for Morgan Stanley. He's a big shot in a Morgan Stanley place in Houston.
Well, tell him, can he give me some stock tips, or am I too LSU fan enough?
He can. I can tell you that. He does pretty well for himself.
Does he have your retirement?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say that.
Nope. I don't want to break any rules, which I have before, and I got in trouble for it.
Interesting.
Amen.
It's been fun.
It has.
What do you see ULL Raging Cajuns do this year?
Football-wise?
Football-wise, yes.
Well, we have one of the weaker schedules, so we should win 9 games without question.
I'm just thinking, you said weak schedule. I'm thinking about, damn, LSU schedule is pretty hard.
Of course you're in the SEC, something I can't do anything about. You guys make these you make these self-fulfilling prophecies. I mean,
how is it self-fulfilling?
Because every fall rolls around.
Give me a definition of self-fulfilling hold on. Give me a definition of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Here's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Every single fall, Alabama's going to be in the top 5 because they're freaking Alabama. Until they start to really get their ass whooped and they're losing the games that they shouldn't, every year, no matter what they have, no matter what the roster looks like, no matter who's the quarterback, they're going to be a top 5 team. So when LSU plays them and all the other SEC opponents,
how is that
this
LSU
happens
being
across all
self-fulfilling?
sports.
How is that LSU being self-fulfilling? That and by the way,
as a conference,
that's not what a self-fulfilling prophecy means.
Then what does it mean?
If you are going to say, you know what self-fulfilling prophecy is? His name's called Jesus.
Oh, come on, man. Self-fulfilling prophecy is making a prediction that you know is going to come true because it always comes true before you even predict it. That's what a self-fulfilling. Yeah, you got me
like
stuttering.
LSU did beating Alabama last year, winning the West. And did you
Congratulations on beating them for two times in 10 years.
Game, right? You watched that game?
No, I didn't.
Hand to God, you didn't watch that game.
Hand to God, I didn't watch the game.
I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, I can't argue with I don't believe you. I mean, I got a question before we go. All
right, hit me.
And this is no shot at you, so please don't take it this way, but
why is it I don't dust my crawfish?
Why is it that the loudest Baton Rouge media folks, none of them went to LSU and none of them are from Baton Rouge? Collada went to UL.
Went to UL.
Scarborough, USL dropout. What did you go to? Southern Miss?
I played football at Southeastern. Because let me tell you why.
Moscona.
He went to LSU.
He did?
Just because I went somewhere doesn't mean that I didn't grow up a specific fan.
Right. I didn't get to finish my point on that. And the whole thing I was saying is that for a G5 school, for people, like, we're not a number here. People, they need us. You know, my school needs me to support. They need my fandom. They need us to do this podcast that we do. It makes an impact. So we take it a little bit differently. It's not all about just wins and natties and all this stuff. First of all, our opportunity to win a national championship is very limited because of resources, because of the conference. It's limited. It's limited.
You cannot win a national championship this year. You can't win a national championship in the next 10 years.
Across all sports, I totally disagree.
You just talked about about championships don't matter.
I didn't say they don't matter. I'm saying when you're a fan of a school like me,
you literally, I'm going to quote you. I said, who has more natties? And you said, who cares? Remember that?
Who cares about who has more natties?
Okay, so you don't care about it.
Well, again, if you would listen, I'm telling you, a school like ours, G5, small conference, limited resources compared to the big guys, it is very improbable to use a word that you just used. So you have to find other ways to attach yourself to the athletic program. Obviously, I can't be in the national championship hunt every year, so I'm not going to think that way. That's the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
Is that an unreasonable take? I don't understand what.
No, look, the bottom line is that we're never going to agree on anything.
We've agreed on plenty of things here.
No, not on the massive points.
Well,
bro, I mean, your name change, bro. You've had more name changes than a dude who thinks he's a girl in the last 30 years than they have.
The name change is directly related to LSU and their legislators. It's actually called the LSU rule. You can Google that real quick if you want to. The name change was because some LSU legislators got back in there and changed the law when there are degrees from 1999 and 2000 that say the University of Louisiana on them. LSU
because you're not Louisiana.
But we are.
You're not.
We are.
Buddy, you do not represent the entire state.
Neither does Baton Rouge.
But they don't claim to.
Bullshit, they don't claim to. They have a tweet out right now that has Louisiana on the chest.
You know what? Here's the bottom line. As the last thing we do have to close.
Okay.
LSU don't give two flying shits what you call them because they do win.
Well, their fans do.
Bro, they've been called corn dogs by the entire SEC for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and it didn't matter when the ball got kicked off. They fucking kicked everybody's ass.
All right,
it didn't matter.
We can't kick y'all's ass if you don't schedule us, so schedule us.
Do you really believe that you could, in football or even in a real SEC series in baseball think that you ever could beat LSU and take them down?
Well, I know for a fact.
The truth is, buddy, you ain't going to come close. The truth is you might score a touchdown.
Okay. Now, this is a little bit revisionist, but when Billy was here and we had that roster, we could have definitely beaten
Billy ain't going to do shit against Burrow, dog. It ain't going to happen.
Burrow wasn't
there.
It
ain't going to happen in 18. It ain't going to happen in 17.
Yes, it was.
If you want to take 2 years of Ed Orgeron, that's fine.
Okay.
You ain't beating Brian Kelly.
Well, I don't think Brian Kelly's all that. But still, if you want to talk about football, then I'll give you football.
He has the most wins in college football's history.
Okay. You lost to A&M. One of the worst teams in the SEC history.
Interesting.
It was bad.
Hold on. Who won the West?
I don't care. You lost to A&M.
Can you answer the question? Who won the West? Say their name.
I guess you.
What's their name?
That school across the basin.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But hang on. But to answer your question before we go, we beat you in baseball regularly. Both Diamond Sports would beat you regularly.
If Paul Skeens would have been on the mound, he would have shoved it so far up your ass that the sweat over his knee would have quenched your thirst.
But we'll never know because you won't schedule us.
Do you really think that you would have beaten Paul Skeens?
I will never know because you won't schedule us.
Do you really think that you would have beaten Paul Skeens?
Well, we tapped Hurd. Well, I guess he only pitched like 2/3 of an inning, but he pitched in the World Series and he didn't get us out.
He also has a disease that breaks his back on a consistent basis. You know that, right?
No, I didn't.
And by the way, he got revisionist history when he won an Natty.
And look, it was fun.
In all seriousness, Josh, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
I know we've kind of been going back and forth.
All right.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff, man.
All right. In all seriousness, I do got to go. You
For
think I'll go 9-3?
Oh, for sure. Look, somebody needs to be fired if you can't win 9 games with the schedule.
Quarterback?
I think it's Zeon Christ.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
A couple reasons why I can't say, but I saw him in spring up close. And first of all, I don't know if you know, but he took all the reps because we have injuries.
Correct.
Yeah, he's a real deal.
DB had some guys leave.
Yeah, we got some guys in the wings. Talent is equal or better, but obviously experience matters.
Josh, you're a champion. This is some good content.
I appreciate it, man. It was a good time.
It was. Thank you, Josh, for joining.
All right, Blake, do your thing, man.
All right. Josh over at Ragin Review. That dude's really good, man. He stood his ground. I gave him a lot of shit. I gave that man a lot of shit. I'm exhausted. All right, we got to get to one last break. We'll wrap up the SEC next. Let's talk about our friends over at Blue Chew. Something that I don't need. This episode is brought to you by our good friends over at Blue Chew. Guys, do you remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that confidence where it matters the most, in the bedroom. Listen up, BlueChew.com. They always say that first impressions are always the most important. What about those last ones? They say there's nothing sexier than a man with confidence. Blue Chew gives you that confidence back. Try Blue Chew for free today when you use our promo code SPORTS20 at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code SPORTS20. You will receive that first month free of charge. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. All right. Yes, I do think Josh was really good. He stood his ground, even though I don't agree with him. He was wrong on everything he said. He stood his ground. All right. So I did have a lot of things I wanted to finish off with. Let me talk about Alvin Kamara's case, and then I know we've been trying to talk about the SEC and the recap. We will do that. We'll do that on Rufino and Joe show tomorrow as well. In case you missed it, today it was reported, and then obviously the case was dropped, or not dropped. What am I talking about? Nick, the argument with Nick kind of got my blood flowing. Alvin Kamara's case was settled today, civilly and criminally. He pled no contest, which, by the way, come on, man. He didn't plead guilty. Understand the difference between no contest and a guilty verdict. Alvin Kamara's got community service. He's got a $100,000 fine. Civilly, they're fine. They're done. I don't really think – I would be shocked. Now, in reality, I don't trust the NFL to make any decisions. Okay? I don't think Alvin's getting suspended for anything. I mean, you had Marshawn Lattimore breaking and entering and stealing stuff. He got arrested, didn't get anything. Case was dropped. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be fine, man. I think Alvin's going to be fine. Even if he's suspended 4 games, at least it's not what you think he was going to get. Glad that Alvin will be in the backfield this year for the Saints. They report in a couple weeks. So really looking forward to that. All right. We'll pick things back up tomorrow. Maybe we won't go as long, but it is what it is. All right. See y'all tomorrow, guys. Peace.